There we
sound
go.
effects, guys. Welcome to the show.
Guys, we can't hear you.
Can't
What's
hear
that
you.
sound?
What's that sound?
What's that sound? It's so loud.
It's happening. Is that the sound of the Aston Martin F1 team?
So
It's happening. Oh, I'm at the box at Miami GP, at Las Vegas GP. Oh, is that public advertising on the Aston Martin F1?
How did you get my voicemail to run on the show?
That's
For
great.
me, it just sounded like the sound effects of like Pacific Rim or something.
Yeah. We got it from that influencer, Ashton Hall, the guy who has the viral morning routine. He drops that sound effect, so we had to pull that over to our show. But how you guys doing?
Great to see you guys.
Can you introduce yourselves a little bit and explain what the news is today?
Absolutely. So I'm Jannick, co-CEO. That's Leif, other co-CEO, co-founders of Public. We announced today, as you could tell from your last intro, we are the new sponsors of the Aston Martin Formula One team.
Let's hear it.
Amazing.
Oh, yes,
Amazing.
We love it.
So
amazing.
Fantastic. Storied team, storied brand.
And they're going to write books about this partnership.
I think so.
Can we get a gong for that or no?
Yeah, of course we can get a gong.
Get a gong for that, right?
We're also going to pull up some video of Aston Martin's driving around, entertain the viewers.
Can you break down the process? I imagine we know this has been in the works for a while, but what was the process when and when did you even start thinking about doing something like this?
Let's talk about first why it makes sense for us first at the beginning of the process. So we started 6 years ago, mainly as a fractional shares platform. We were like the first trading platform to do fractional shares. Then it obviously became a big thing. But since then, I'd argue that the platform has matured a lot. I think now we have one of the most powerful investing sort of suite of tools in America, multi-asset investing, multiple account types, embedded deep AI research. And customers have evolved kind of with us. So now folks are coming in with hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in their accounts. But to be honest, not everyone knows that we're there. And so this partnership was a great opportunity for us to sort of raise some awareness around that and kind of get that message across, obviously, to the right demographic as well.
Can you talk about anatomy of the deal? How did you meet the folks over there? Did this all start with is there an agency involved? I know you guys do a lot of stuff internally. Is it just an email? Did you meet someone at an F1 race? Like, how do you even meet these folks to
Full
begin this
founder
process?
mode, no agencies.
I love it.
No, we have an investor on the cap table that happens to be involved with the team as well, and so through that we got introduced to them. And this is also a deal where the Aston Martin Formula One team actually took part equity in Public as well. And it's kind of like, I think it's the first time they've really done this. And so it was also a little bit of like an experiment for them as well, like a good thing for them as well. And what was interesting is that the way they also think about it is that they have a platform, they have also sponsors that pay them, ridiculous amounts of money and whatnot. And so like they don't necessarily like need another $1 million from another startup and so on, but they like the idea of finding opportunities that they feel they understand themselves as well. In our case, like wealth transfer, their audience being the type of audience that has money to invest, US markets being one of the fastest growing markets for Formula One, generally speaking. It's the only country with 3 races. And so on. And so for them, the viewers focus and the focus of the audience that we had was like a good match. And so that's why, for them, it was also just a good idea to be a little bit closer involved and actually like join the cap table as well.
How do you guys think about international long-term do you see a world in the future where you have millions of users outside of the country? I know US has obviously been the focus to date.
Absolutely, but the way that starts is we actually launched an app called Alpha, which is a little bit of a spin out of our AI product. Launched that in international markets late last year as a separate kind of product. So that's all live and growing well in a bunch of European markets and a few other places around the world. And so that's basically like Apple stocks with AI powers. That's how you think of it. You literally come in, you take a photo of your watch list, where you have it, and the AI
Yeah.
automatically auto follows everything and tells you why things are moving in real time, not just
Yep.
if they're moving and by how much. And then you
Yep.
can directly ask questions and do research and all that stuff. So that's like, I would say, the first step in our international strategy in building that audience sort of abroad. And then obviously, as you can imagine, investing services can come later because that's the aspect that has a regulatory component to it, which takes a
Totally.
lot of time.
Totally. Yeah.
Can you talk about how you actually envision the partnership manifesting in advertisements? Obviously, like logo on the car, but there are 21 races. There are so many different places to put logos, integrate, have a box, have a party, have an after show, pre-show, digital. There's so many different things that can package up into these actual partnerships. What did that process look like, and where did you land?
Yeah, I want to call out. I want to see Alonso, executing trades, during a
pit stop.
in the pit lane.
It's that fast, by the way, that you can actually totally.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally. I mean, there's always, whenever you do these deals, there's this massive laundry list of stuff that you have access to and can do and whatnot, right? That falls into paddock club passes at the events, and that falls into like, we will have the logo and the halo and the logo tiny on the side of the car as well, but also during the US races, for example, and things like that. But one specific thing that we thought about is in our space of like kind of like neo broker investing apps, things like referral have been this like mainstream thing of get a free fractional stock and so on. And as we moved more up market, the less that stuff worked, because if you have a little bit of money, let's be honest, you don't really give a shit about $5 of free stock.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, it'll be a sense of like, okay, what do people that have a little bit of money care about? And it's most cases experiences you might not necessarily have access to otherwise. And so the sense of that, like, this partnership is like one of the first ways for us to have the ability to give exclusive experiences to our customers through certain giveaways in the app, through referral in the app, and so on, to, for example, win things like access to the paddock, meet and greets with the drivers, and all that kind of stuff, right? And in the future, obviously, like, we'll figure out like what are other ways to execute on that strategy as well. But the sense of that, like, what does referral for a more affluent audience actually look like? And falls much more into things like experiences.
Yeah.
For this specifically, also, just to finish the rant quick, is basically like starting today, you can actually in the app win access to the paddock in the Vegas race later this year.
Cool.
And
Amazing.
especially if you find the 3 little F1 cars in the app, they're just like hidden in different places in the app, and you find all 3 of them, then you essentially enter.
That's awesome.
And they're not easy to find, by the way, either. So it's not like a a thing that everybody will stumble upon.
Until someone tweets out where they are. But
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give the app to my 3-year-old and say, you got 14 hours.
Go.
Make sure to load it with a couple hundred keys before you do, and we'll see.
Yeah. So you can do a little day trading along the way.
How do you think about the evolution of the way brands integrate with F1? Obviously, Red Bull doesn't make cars, or I guess they made that one car once, but in general, they don't make cars, but they're a huge F1 sponsor with the whole team. Haas Automation's kind of in a similar boat, but then Aston Martin's more of a car brand. How do you think that that's evolved, and is there a world where we see a public.com F1 team at some point?
Well, not in the next couple of years, because now we have this deal. No, look, I think what's interesting about the Formula One is it is the only sport that I can really think of that has scale and has this sort of thing where whenever Formula One comes into town, it's the whole show, right?
Yeah.
It's a Super Bowl event 20 times in a year, basically, right? Because you go to a Premier League match, 2 hours, you knock down a couple of pints, it's over, and you go about your day. This is like the whole weekend.
Yep.
The circus comes into town. They talk about, there's a lot of Drive to Survive, obviously. And so therefore, it just lends itself very well to like a very intense, focused type of exposure.
Yeah.
Which I think is really great. And I think you've seen that in and around the Super Bowl and a few other places, but in the Formula One, it just kind of happens. many times throughout the course of a year. And I think that's what makes it interesting for B2B companies as well as for consumer companies, actually.
Yeah. Did Drive to Survive factor into your calculations? I imagine there will be public.com branding that makes it into Drive to Survive just by nature of being on the car.
Yeah, but that's a funny thing. It's like, so with Formula One, you either sponsor a team or you sponsor, a race / the league itself, and these are two separate things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Drive to Survive is more with the league itself and so on. And so the trick really for folks like us is, what can you do that has the chance to make it into the storyline of the show? Right?
Yeah.
And so like, what kind of beef can we create with, I don't know, some other trading app that, sponsors some other team or something, or like, what kind of drama can we be part of, essentially?
Yeah.
So if you have any ideas, something shout.
Yeah, we'd love to help. No, but I mean, I can imagine, just naturally the you'll get placement in the show just as Alonso and Lance have their moments in the show, right? So it's very natural.
But generally, you always have a multiplier with thing. There's a great Formula One game, right? Lego right now has a Formula One kind of thing going on, and so there's always kind of these multipliers kind of happening in and around the sport.
Yeah. What about other multipliers more on like a geolocation basis? I mean, I'm sure you could run geofenced ads in Vegas that weekend, buy billboards. Like, what are you thinking to get the most squeeze out of the event when it kind of comes together?
I mean, there's a long there's a long list of stuff you can do. It's a multi-year deal, so we also have a little bit. It's starting in the Miami race in a couple of weeks, so that will be the first one. We've kicked off now this essentially scavenger hunt in the app where you can get access to Vegas, paddock, etc. by finding these kind of cars around the app. And so I think there's a lot of stuff we can experiment with. I think relative to, we're not quite as big as Aramco yet. They still have us a little bit on the market cap kind of side, and so, but we might be one of the more nimble folks that can get a little bit more creative, and so I would say expect to see a bunch more kind of stunt.
How did Lawrence Stroll's kind of leadership factor into the decision? Like, he's obviously has a like running the team, but then simultaneously has the manufacturer side too with Aston Martin. He's seems like extremely convicted to winning and making a statement. And as a car enthusiast, I've watched what Aston is doing. Again, really committed to winning. They've massively improved their. Did that give you guys extra confidence in going and making a partnership, knowing that, hey, the team by itself is not. When you look at other teams like Haas and things like that, who's had a sort of history of economic challenges, that's not exactly the team that you want to attach yourself to, even though they have.
But also, generally speaking, there's a lot of change happening in F1 right now, right? You have a bunch of mix-ups in terms of drivers that switch teams. You have behind the scenes, one of the guys who, built the engines, one of the engineers from the Red Bull team was hired now at Aston Martin and so on. And so there's right now, there's a lot of change happening, and it's not just, seeing Verstappen win every time and, having the joke of just putting a piece of tape on your TV so the race becomes more fun to watch, over his name. So, and and so there's so much change happening right now, and I think that is why I think this season and the next season and the one after, I think are going to be super exciting, right? There's a new US team coming in with Cadillac next year. There's a movie with Pitt coming out in June or July this year, and so there's just a lot happening around it, which is quite awesome.
But I think you're totally right. Where Aston Martin sits right now is kind of perfect for us, right? Because it's not it's a team that is still a little bit on the up and up, but I think will be very competitive over the next couple of years.
Yeah,
you're already.
Cool.
Leif, you're already wearing dark green. Are we going to see you guys driving around in some Aston Martin street cars? Do you have any favorite picks or historical Aston Martins that you've been thinking about? Are you a James Bond fan? Give me the
It's
take
James
on.
Bond's car, right? They literally say something in one of the Aston Martin movies, from royalty to double agents,
Yeah.
covering in between. And so obviously now in New York City, doesn't make a ton of sense to be driving on the DB.
No. In New York, you need to get the Valkyrie. Clearly, like
Exactly.
the roads are a little
Perfect.
bumpy. I'm sure the clearance on that thing isn't great, but it is street legal, so why not be whipping around Fifth Avenue?
You need to basically change
a
your
Valkyrie.
you probably need to change your tires like every 200 miles or something
Yeah.
like that. But I'm curious, did you guys get any messages this morning from friends back in Europe like, hey, I saw the news, like that's awesome. Then you're like, hey guys, we've been $1 billion company for a while, like and this is like the first time, like we were in like Business Insider like 2 weeks ago, and some people were messaging John and I like, oh, congratulations, and we're like, I think we get more views than Business Insider. But thank you. I can imagine.
A lot of people asking for tickets, that's for sure.
Yeah. You guys are going to be extra
all the people that had like a 25K angel investment, they're now coming like, so
They're like,
Yeah.
So I'll be in the paddock, right?
Yeah, you can get me tickets to the whole season, right? Like, what does that cost?
Of course.
$250,000.
Well, I'm extremely excited. I'm going to be
Congratulations,
even
guys.
more excited to watch. Have another reason to turn it on at like 4 a.m. or whatever Pacific, whenever the international races happen. And we should be signing a lease for our new studio, and we're gonna have a lot more space. So we should figure out how to get a car in the background one way or another.
You'd be surprised how cheap it actually is.
I know. I remember our conversation.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to like say these numbers on here, but it is actually not that bad.
Yeah.
So.
Cheaper than a regular Aston Martin.
Like it won't drive, it doesn't have an engine or anything. But But like they're like show pieces and you like find it's an auto lobby or something sometimes,
No, I want it like on the back wall of the studio.
I mean, I went and toured Red Bull's headquarters in Santa Monica a couple years ago, and they had the full F1 car there on the half pipe, and it just made the vibe in the office like fantastic. And so, yeah, I highly recommend getting an F1 car. Everyone should really. It's part of the ideal 3-car garage. You need the family hauler, you need the weekender, and you need the F1 car, of course.
Absolutely.
Why doesn't everyone just do this? I don't get it.
I
More
don't know
people
why
should
we're
be
the first
doing
to think of this.
Yeah, it's
a huge
crazy.
arbitrage for us. I agree.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Awesome, guys. Well, congratulations and congrats to the whole team. It's going to be very excited for Miami and everything to come.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
All right.
We will see you soon.
Cheers. Great to see you. Later.